manosphere. They gather in circles, ring lights glowing like religious icons, blue LED halos illuminating 12 furious disciples, and a man named something like King or Rex or Chad, explaining that civilization has collapsed because women started saying no. A man leads, he says with the trembling urgency. It's funny how every alpha male podcast sounds like a hostage negotiation for their own emotions. And they speak in scripture now. Alpha, beta, sigma, low value, simp, submission, feminine energy. It's like the incels found a thesaurus and started a cult. And the congregation nods along, taking life advice from men whose entire personality is protein powder, cryptocurrency, and an untreated fear of intimacy. Women only want providers, they declare, with self-assurance, which is interesting because these men seem to want a stay-at-home wife with traditional values, a babe on the hip and another at her feet, homemade bread and a body that bounced right back, ready for him, whilst also calling women gold diggers for expecting the provider part in that. Apparently she should embody 1950s domestic labour for the low price of being his piece, whilst ignoring his other piece. Women only date toxic men, they cry. My guy, women are begging for emotional intelligence so desperately that a man asking, how was your day, is now considered foreplay. But no, the real oppression is women no longer wanting to mother men that they also have to fuck. And somewhere in the comments section, a 14-year-old boy is learning that love is gay, that vulnerability is weakness, that women are prizes to win or enemies to punish. Not people, never people. And that is the tragedy of it. Because the male loneliness epidemic is real, but instead of teaching boys how to build friendships, how to communicate, how to survive rejection without converting it into hate, these podcast prophets look at lonely men the way pyramid schemes look at desperate mothers. They bottle insecurity, rebrand it as masculinity, and sell it back at $49.99 a month. Alpha male is just the live, laugh, love for men who think owning a microphone counts as self-improvement. And maybe that line is funny, but the joke has a body count and not the kind that these men frown upon. They speak about masculinity like it is at war, and the battlefield is always women. Always our bodies, our voices, our ambition, our boundaries, our no's. Because it's easier to believe women are conspiring against them than to admit they were taught a version of masculinity so fragile it interprets accountability as oppression. Women are the enemy, they cry, and maybe that's the saddest part. Because beneath all the posturing, all the roaring, all the alpha male performance art is a frightened little boy desperate to be loved, who was taught that emotion is only for women. So instead he learned dominance. Now he mistakes fear for respect and loneliness for power. And suddenly the loneliness epidemic stops looking like something women created, and more like something men are manufacturing in real time, one podcast episode at a time. Thank you.
Whoa.
And one last one. This is also called body count. I've been told that I should have more standards, that a woman my age should probably have more restraint and a touch of self-respect. Not every man who catches my eye needs to end up on his back. But where's the fun in that? I enjoy the chase, the flirtation, the careful selection, a smile across the room and a glance that lasts half a second too long, the knowledge that by midnight, one of us will be making terrible decisions, usually him. And I know what people say, that my body count is excessive, that it's not ladylike. If a man had numbers like mine, he'd be congratulated, but a woman should know better. Maybe they're right. I've certainly lost count a number of times. There was the banker, the bodybuilder, the one who wouldn't stop talking about crypto. God, that was a satisfying night. I do try to show self-control. Honestly, I tell myself, no more, not this one. But it's a weakness, we all have them. And they make it so easy. They buy me a drink, call me beautiful, mention their podcast, explain my body to me. Honestly, they practically throw themselves at my feet. And once I've got them alone, well, things move quickly. There are nerves, of course, heavy breathing, a racing pulse as I straddle them, the occasional struggle. But I find that anticipation is at least half of the pleasure. What I really love, though, is that final moment, the climax, that instant when everything changes, when the smile drops and the confidence disappears, the look on their faces is exquisite. Confusion, panic, regret, sometimes all three. I collect those expressions the way other people collect fridge magnets. It's my favourite part, not the screaming, not the blood, just the expression. The perfect moment as they realise they badly misunderstood this situation. Because that's the thing about my body count. People always assume it's the number of men I've slept with. It's really the number I've buried. Thank you.